Welcome to the Indiewood Podcast, a podcast about independent film and the many hats filmmakers wear in order to get those films made. Each month, I'm joined by one such filmmaker where we explore their approach to the craft and how they thrive within the visual medium of film. For the next 4 episodes, I'm joined by an actor, producer, screenwriter, and playwright, to say the least, and who is also on the 2025 Forbes 30 Under 30 list for Hollywood and entertainment. Oddly enough, this is all the same person. So please welcome to the pod, Julia Steyer.
Thank you so much. Oh, that was quite the intro.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I practiced it on the way
Your
in.
voice is so calming.
Really? This is an ASMR podcast.
Oh my God.
Filmmaking is just the niche we chose.
Filmmaking and cut. Yeah.
I'm so excited to chat with you because you've accomplished so much in such a short time. And I don't know where to start because like that multi-hyphenate isn't the full multi-hyphenate that you have, which we'll kind of unpack in the later episodes. What I've noticed with a lot of filmmakers that come on the pod is that everybody's journey is different. Mm-hmm. Whether they're an actor or a writer or a producer or a director, they all kind of get to their current point just on their own, in their own way. I guess that would be the right word to use. And my analogy for filmmaking is like, hey, if the corporate ladder is actually a ladder to get to a treehouse, and the treehouse is success. Like in the world of film and cinema, that structure is kind of the same. There's just no ladder, and so how do you get to the treehouse?
I feel like there's no ladder, and there's multiple treehouses along the way.
Yeah, what's your path? And so, how did you get to your treehouse? Can you tell me a little bit more about what got you to film? And then the many different kind of milestones you've hit so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a theater kid through and through. My first show I ever went to was Broadway in Chicago's performance of Les Mis, which is like not a show to take a 6-year-old to, but I knew like every word because I was obsessed with that show. Mm-hmm. My mother really loved, musicals and theater, and so she really instilled that in me and my brother at a really early age, and we both just really took to it. And then so I'd kind of done it like as much as you can as a kid in the suburbs. You know what I mean? Like the church plays or like the local performances.
Did you ever play like a shrub in or a burning bush in the church play?
Close. I was in a play at like the local, it's called the CRC, which I honestly don't even know what that stands for. Some kind of recreation center. And it was, oh my God, what was it called? It was called the XYZ Files. And it was about a sinking mall that got taken over by aliens. And I just played I was like 8 and I played like one of the people in the mall. So like I felt like a shrub. And
the mall background.
Yeah.
The mall walkers.
Basically. And then when I moved to Texas, actually, so I grew up in the Chicagoland area. When I was about 12, I moved to San Antonio, Texas. And I went to public school for middle school and high school, but they were still so intense about their theater program. Really? Like, and when I tell people about it, they're like, oh, did you go to like a theater magnet school? I'm like, no, this was just like the local high school. And they had this class called productions where you literally had to like audition to get into it. And part of it was like, this is for kids who are planning on majoring in it in college. Mm-hmm. So you like literally had to sign something like to take the class. That was like,
that's really cool.
It was kind of insane. Like when I look back on it, I'm like, that's really intense to tell like a 14-year-old, like, hey, like if you want to take this class, like you have to know what you're majoring in. Yeah. Which, is good in a way because it kind of helped like focus in on what I wanted to do. Cause I could have done band. I could have done like so many things. So I was in this like kind of intense theater program in high school. And then I just like part of this class was we had to do, sorry, you're getting like the full story.
No, please continue.
Part of the class you had to do college presentations.
Some people who are listening are still in school.
That's true.
So
this is true.
This is important.
But so maybe don't listen to this next part because I did not make my decision making skills are maybe questionable. But we had to do these presentations on colleges, and somebody, and this is my freshman year, someone did one on USC, and I just decided that's where I was gonna go. Like the little 14-year-old me, like, did not know it was a hard school to get into. Like, didn't know like I had to have like really good grades to get it. I was just like, that's the school I'm going to go to. And I did. And I think just having that goal since I was like 14, like, it put everything into perspective for me. Like, I'd be up at like 3 a.m. crying about my math homework. And my dad would literally be like, if you want to get into USC, you kind of have to do your math homework. Like, that became the mantra of like kind of getting through things that I was struggling with. Was like, okay, if you want to get to USC, you have to do this. Like, if you want to get to USC, you have to figure this out. If you want to get to USC, like, you have to memorize that part. You have to do that homework. You have to show up. Like, so in a weird way, it was really motivating. I just, I probably should have looked at other colleges. I just didn't want to.
I did the same thing where I applied and I was like, okay, I'm going to apply to other colleges, but this is the one I'm going to go to.
Yeah.
And I got into a bunch of other ones and I was like, no, this is the one I want to go to.
Yeah. Well, of course. And it's like, it's funny because it's like my safety schools, quote unquote, were still like very competitive within the state of Texas. And I was like, I'm not going to go to UT. And like, there's kids in my classes who are like,
if only.
I'm dying to go. Like, I hate you for turning it down. I'm like, fight on.
Well,
I'm going to USC.
You had a milestone.
I did. And so that I think has been how I've treated my entire career is I've set milestones for myself because once you graduate college, it's a blank slate. Like you are like, cause it's like, I knew what I needed to do up until the age of 21, right? Your life is kind of planned out for you. It's like, go to school, graduate high school, get into college, graduate college. Those are your major milestones. And then you're like, oh my God, what is next? And so at USC, it was a little interesting because I had auditioned for the BFA, but I made it very clear in my interview that I wanted to study abroad and have a minor, which is like two things you can't do in the BFA program. Okay. So they were like, okay, great. Like, you can't do the BFA, but you can do the BA. And at first I was really worried because the BFA, they do, it's like all acting all the time. And I thought that's what I wanted. Until I started really exploring the options in the BA, which was like writing classes and getting to study abroad. So I got to do like a whole semester at a conservatory in London that, just fit really well into the BA program. I did have to take a directing class. I'm not a director, but it gave me a lot of respect for people who do direct because I was like, this is hard. I don't like this. And I think the BA did a really good job of just making sure we were well-rounded creatives, not just actors, not just one discipline. And something that I picked up in school as well that kind of kickstarted this whole journey was something that's really big at USC is called independent student productions. And it's essentially exactly that. It's plays that are put on outside of kind of the main school that because you have 200 students in the BAs and maybe 30 roles available each year. So there's not like you could go to USC as a theater major and never be in a play there. Like, it's competitive. Yeah. And that is actually something I also really appreciated because it was like I had to fight. Like I had to get in there and I had to like really like figure out a way to make myself, stand out and get myself out there. And so we were really, a couple of friends and I were really interested in this idea of these like independent student productions. So we just made a theater company because there was a really good infrastructure already at USC. We kind of like, we were like, okay, they give this grant, there's those theaters. We're going to do this play that we were able to like, get in contact with the playwrights. And that was actually, that came about through one of the producers and I that was a part of this theater company. We both wrote for our school newspaper as theater critics. And she had gone and seen this show, really fell in love with it. And it was just like two really cool playwrights from Seattle. And they were like, yeah, absolutely. Like, we'll give you a small licensing fee and you guys can absolutely do our play. They came down for it, which was like huge. We're like 19 and we're having like playwrights like fly in to come see our production of their show. And so that kicked off a lot because junior year, I saw, and this is actually how I know Sarah, I saw a...
and for those listening at home, Sarah is a previous guest, the creator of Stupid Cupid, which I bring up all the time because it's traumatic. No, I'm kidding. Like in a good way. Like it's such a big part of my career, not in the sense that like it was a big project, but that it taught me a lot as an independent filmmaker. And then Sarah's also my wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so she's actually, so shout out to Sarah. Thank you for setting this up.
Yeah.
But I saw an internship for Hero Theater, and it was kind of exactly what I was looking for. It was like
and,
1 month.
Sarah and former podcast Wayne T. Carr, they're company members at Hero.
Both wonderful actors. Both go check out their work. But it was like a 1 month small stipend, and the stipend was huge because it meant I didn't have to pay for class credits.
Okay.
And because USC is like really weird about that. They're like, if you're taking an internship, like you have to pay like $2,000.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's not a great system. So I was like, they were like, you either have to be getting paid or getting class credit. That's the law in California. And so, yeah, USC was like, well, if you're not getting paid. So I was like, the stipend counts. Like, it counts as being paid. And it was only 1 month. And I was like, it was this summer going into my senior year, and I hadn't done an internship yet. Like, they don't really push that in theater school. Like in film school, it's huge, right? Like I think it's even maybe part of the degree, but in theater, it's not really. And so I was kind of like, well, I feel like this would be a good thing for me to do. So I applied, and somebody else had already gotten it.
Ooh.
And then the artistic director, Elisa Bocanegra, called me, and she was like, I see that you have producing experience. Like, I'm still really interested in you. And so we started talking, and I ended up becoming a producing fellow for that month. And it was truly because my friends and I had just taken this initiative to start this theater company. And it had given me the experience. Like, I didn't wait for somebody to tell me, this is what you need. I also didn't know really how to produce in college, but they were just like, if you're willing to do it, we'll teach you. And it was definitely extracurricular. Like, it was on top of my full class schedule, my full rehearsal schedule. I was in improv clubs and a cappella groups. Like, I had a full schedule. And then on top of it was like trying to learn how to independently produce. And I think that was one of the greatest gifts that USC gives its students is they're like, you will get out of this exactly what you take on, but you have to take it on. And so like, I always tell people, I was like, I actually think I learned so much more outside of the classroom than I did in, because there was just so much opportunity. There was so much, the other students are all brilliant too. And so you're learning from other people your age who are maybe a year or two older than you that can kind of show you the ropes. So it's a really collaborative environment. And then through Hero, I stayed on there for a while. I was part of their leadership team. For a while, I was their in-house dramaturg. I was like the literary manager for a little bit. And through my work there, Elisa is friends with the first Black woman to be nominated for a Tony for directing, Liesl Tommy. And Liesl had posted on literally on Facebook, hey, I'm working on this movie, Respect, starring Jennifer Hudson, shout out. And I'm in New York, and I just need to come to LA a couple times to take meetings at MGM. I would really love an LA-based assistant if anybody has any recommendations. And Elisa put my name in. And so I started working with Liesl very sparsely. It was like, I think over the course of a year, we met up like 3 times because she did not have to come to LA all that often. And it was like, it was cool for me because it was like, I would like put on a pencil skirt, which like you don't have to do as you know what I mean? Like I was like, ooh, haha, like I'm cosplaying office work. Like
I have a job.
I have a job. Like, and I would just go to MGM. They'd be like, 10-hour days, but I was like, oh, it's true. It's like 3 times a year. And that was kind of it. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, and I had always heard in college, which I know we're going to talk about more about this later, but it's what I think is bad advice. They were always like, a desk job is going to be the death of your writing or acting career. And so I was like, oh, but I'm not taking a desk job. Like, this is just temporary. Like, I'm hacking the system. And then the pandemic came. Yeah.
And that desk feels real nice in the pandemic.
Yep. And the pandemic was really interesting because I had been doing a lot of LA theater. I was a big believer of like, to me, my metric of success was constantly working no matter what it was. And that can go either way, right? Because there are people who can be like, well, you're using up all your time and not saving it for something bigger. But this is also like acting is such a gamble. Like if you say no to everything, something might not come. So, and I am a big believer of work begets work. I also recognize, though, that I probably worked hard, not smart. So I know those two things feel like a contradiction,
Yeah.
and they are.
Well, it's
and that's
also-
why this career is so confusing.
Yeah, and it's also something that you, I think, understand in hindsight.
Yes.
You know, like, oh, I've worked hard, and then you look back on it and you then maybe second guess your decisions. Or
Well, and it's like, and I don't regret any of the
Yeah.
things I did. It's just like, oh yeah, when you were doing, maybe that unpaid show for weeks on end, and you weren't submitting to films, and maybe the films could have gotten you a better like, it's all a guess. You're right. It's all a
Like, coulda,
guessing
shoulda,
game
woulda.
in hindsight.
Yeah.
And I am a big believer of like, yeah, you also can wait and nothing can come.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I've always been a believer of just go out there, just do it. Like I said, almost every job I've done has led to another one. So I'm like, work begets work. Like
Yeah.
I think I've come full circle of beating myself up on shoulda, woulda, couldas, and landed on no, you did good,
You
kid.
did good. You did good. And I want to kind of go back to this moment that you had in school at USC, because you said what you put in, you get out.
Yeah.
And I think that's true of a lot in this medium, not just in kind of, the stuff that we learn in school or just in a film school that may not even be accredited. Like you could still go to a school that's not accredited, that's a quote unquote film school, put in so much and
Yeah.
get so much back.
Yeah.
And it's a weird medium that demands a lot from you, but also gives back a
I
lot.
agree.
And I see some folks that come into school, leave school, and they're like, okay, give me I need to audition. It's like, no, you don't. You need to feet on pavement, find your own path,
Yes.
climb your own tree, find your own ladder. And even if we look at, all these success stories of actors and filmmakers from the last 50 years, sure, there could be some exceptions where they're born and they get the role, or get the job and now they're iconic. But a majority of people forge their own path, unapologetically. They just build that road brick by brick as they're walking it. And because they're putting in so much, they're getting so much back. And I think this is something that I talk about a lot. And I think you agree because you've lived it. Work begets work.
Yeah.
The more you do, the better you are. And then when you look back, you're like, wow, look at all the stuff that I've done. And then people look at all that stuff and they're like, wow, you're amazing. Let's hire you for other things.
You know what?
Yeah.
That's such a big thing too, because exactly what you're saying of being able to be look at all I've done. People forget you have to build your credibility.
Yeah.
And you don't I can think of a few exceptions of people that I went to school with that maybe struck gold right after graduating, but most of us, you have to build your credibility, and that starts with the student films into short films into maybe the unpaid theater show into a small role in a paid it builds, and you're not just going to come out famous basically.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm also a big believer of one of the reasons that I am happy that I took this more theater path right out of school. I built community, and I think one of the reasons I've stayed in the industry is because I can talk to other people who are having the same struggles, or talk to people who are inspiring me, or I have a group of people who uplift me, or I just have people that are willing to just get together and flex creative muscles. And a lot of that was bred from theater. Film is different, right? Because it's you kind of come together for a weekend and then sometimes you never see those people again. Or your producer Haley, which we did a show together or a film together 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
You keep people in your atmosphere, which is I think really cool. And social media definitely helps with that. Because it's I'll see her Instagram post and be like, oh yeah, I remember I did that web series with her or something. And so, but then the pandemic came right as I was telling myself, you know what? I'm in LA. You really came out here because you wanted to do film and television. You should maybe start focusing on that.
Doing film and television.
And then everything shut down.
Yeah.
and
then two strikes happened. And then the city caught fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the pandemic was an interesting time because I got lucky in that my lease ran out. And so I know a lot of friends who got stuck paying for a year's lease of a place they weren't living. And so I did the whole I'll go visit my family for 2 weeks. Turned into 6 months. We flew back once to empty out my apartment. And then I just wrote. I almost worked more during the pandemic than I have before or after, because I suddenly had all this free time. I had a blog that I had started before of it was like for early career actors and then like filmmakers as well. So I just like really poured into that. I like started.
Can you tell me more about the blog? Is it still up?
Yeah, it's technically still up.
Okay.
I have not contributed to it in a minute, but it's called Players, Performers, and Portrayers. I stole the lyric from Rush. And it was kind of, I started it because I, honestly, oh my gosh. See, this is what I mean. Like, I feel like I can't tell a story without being like, and here's all the backstory.
Well, see, this is why I like hearing about your story, because it kind of justifies this idea that I've had where you should just do.
Yes.
You know, the more you do, like even if it's adjacent, even if it's just a little in left field or maybe even a different ballpark, like that is a cumulative. Oh my God, I can say this word. Hold on. A cumulative. And it forges a career that other people can look at.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to say it brings legitimacy, because I don't like that word, because we're all like legitimate artists. But it adds weight to it.
Yeah.
Then you can throw that weight around.
It's some history
Yeah.
too, and you're able. Like I feel like I can actually talk with people and engage with people because I'm like, no. I'm in the trenches. like believe me. So I very much get that. Yeah, I like that. You bring your backstory with you, kind of.
Yeah.
Credibility. How about that?
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Because I know some folks who are, like, for example, writers. They're coming in and they've lived a good life. They have this experience to lean on, and they start writing, and then you read their script and it's good, but then there's that little nugget of something missing, of like the X factor, the life, for example. And it's because they've really focused on this thing. They're like, I'm a writer. I sit down every day and I write 10 pages, and I'm like, that's amazing. But where are you sourcing these 10 pages from? The 10 pages you wrote the day before, the 10 pages you wrote before that, and then going back, 5 years, those pages? Like, what are you living? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I think the idea of kind of diversifying your life as well as your craft, really helps, not, I was going to say helps define, but that's not the right word.
You know what? I will, just to pick up what you were saying, though, about how, like, diversifying your life can make you a better artist. That is something that when I was like full-time acting, or like that was like my only focus, would piss me off, because I'd be like, what do you mean I spent 4 years and all this money to learn how to act, and the only way I'm going to get a job is if I can do a triple backflip?
Yeah.
If I had known that, I would have not gone to school for acting, and I would have been a gymnast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So like,
yeah.
It's funny. It's actually, that's a solo show piece that I'm toying with, of like, yeah, you have to have a special skill to get hired here. Like, acting doesn't count. Acting doesn't count as a special skill in acting. Fun fact.
Like you worked so hard to refine this instrument that then they're like, okay, you're there, but what else you got?
Or when they went through the phase of, they're like, well, we want to hire real people, not actors. I'm like, great, so I'm no longer a human. Okay.
You're just a wrench in a toolkit. Yeah, that's the industry is always going to change and be weird and kind of not know what it wants, because it's always playing on a fad that's just passing.
Yes.
And so I think the trick for filmmakers or for creatives in general is to figure out what the next fad is, or maybe even just make it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of creatives have defined culture. And I don't know, is that weird to ask of people? Like, hey, how about you find success by defining culture? Which feels like
I feel like that is what filmmaking does, though.
Yeah.
Like, think about how many films have become like part of our vernacular, right? And I always just think about, like, I had to start watching The Office because everybody would always be like, "Oh, you're such a Pam," and I'd be like, "I don't know what that means." And it's our language now. So I agree with you.
I've still yet to see The Office. I've seen a couple episodes. I'm like, that's funny, but also I did Parks and Rec. That was my thing.
Oh yeah.
And Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, I just started Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and it's got its hooks in me.
Like 2 to 4, 2 to 5 are just peak TV.
Yeah.
Also, not to digress a bit more, I've been watching Cheers. And just like a little sidebar advice for writers who are listening, go watch a couple episodes of Cheers.
Really?
That, like, some of the early episodes are so refined, just from like a sitcom, not even a sitcom standpoint, just like really good writing, structural writing. Like you have something like a scene starts, and you have like a weird little something from a character quirk or like a joke, then the scene happens and the joke's paid off. And it's so just on point and it's so well structured that I think a lot of writers can learn quite a bit from it. Don't watch a lot of Cheers because it's a little problematic. It was of the 80s. Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
It's a little like, ooh, don't do that.
Oh.
You know, like, what? Ooh, the 80s are weird.
Yeah, there's a couple. I watched like Wedding Singer the other day and I was like, oh, there's some. Maybe we shouldn't be laughing at the 12-year-old kid like grabbing her butt. Like,
nope. There was also a movie, Waiting. Also very problematic. Don't watch that either. But that was like 2009.
Yeah.
Which is not that far away. Although I say that, but that is actually kind of far away. It's like a decade.
Isn't that crazy? I know. Isn't that? I was about to be like, yeah, that was only a decade ago. No, it wasn't, Julia.
Almost 2.
That was quite a while away.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, so you came out of the pandemic like writing.
Oh yes. Okay.
And
So the blog.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still want the little backstory on that?
Yeah,
I was like, I feel bad.
Continue,
I feel like I keep like taking you down like different.
Digress. We have time.
Okay, perfect.
We have time to digress.
Just with your thing of do everything, you never know what's going to pay off. My freshman year of college, I actually had a talk show.
No way.
USC has its own television station that airs around Los Angeles called Trojan Vision. And freshman year, you're not allowed to audition for the shows.
Okay.
And so I was just like, what am I like?
Did you do it anyway?
I can't. No, because the school literally won't let you. You can do the independent the theater shows you can't audition for, or at least like your first semester or something. And I just was not getting into anything. Like because I was doing like the independent student stuff, didn't get into that. Like didn't get into the a cappella group. Didn't get into the film fraternity. I was just like, oh my God,
what
like
is happening? Yeah.
I can't do anything. Like, and you know, it's what they say about colleges. Like, yeah, it's everybody who is the lead in their high school play goes here. Like, so you're no longer special. And you're just like, ah. And so I saw this opportunity. It was called See You at USC. And I was like, sure, whatever. Like, it'll be practice on camera. And it was honestly like this. Except I was 18, didn't know what I was doing, and I was talking to like Academy Award winners, and so I was just like,
really,
like,
oh, that's
funny because one guy we didn't even know he had an Academy Award. He wrote Footloose, the movie, and then he had an Oscar for writing the theme song for Fame, and he had pitched himself to us as a children's book writer, and we started researching, and I was like, Dean, do you have an Oscar? And he was like, oh, yeah. And I was like, yeah. We're going to talk about that.
I wonder where he keeps it.
I know. Yeah. I was just like, okay, way to bury the lead. But my mom described that that whole experience. She was like, it's like you got to corner the most interesting person at the party.
Yeah.
And just talk to them. And so when I was out of school and I was meeting other people my age who had, you know, you're kind of always being like, well, what are they doing? Is it something I could be doing? Like, where do I kind of fall on this scale of 6? It's a little bit of comparing yourself to others, which I know isn't great, but I think if you do it in a way of like, I want to learn from you, it's okay. I find that people don't always like to tell you everything they've done because people can be a little protective until you're like, what if I give you free press?
Yeah. Then they're like, let me.
And then they just tell you everything. So I started Players, Performers, and Portrayers literally as a way to talk to people my age and figure out what they were doing that I wasn't doing that I maybe should be doing. But being like, and here's a really beautiful spread for you. You know, like I would pull pictures, I would format it really nice, like I would advertise it. So it ended up being a really great win-win. And it ended up kind of taking off in that, like, I got to interview the casting director of Transformers. I got to interview the casting director for Lord of the Rings. Like, those were kind of like two of my, like, oh my God moments. I was like, this is so crazy. And then I kind of started a little bit of a podcast on accident because I was like, okay, it's the pandemic. I've always wanted to write. Now is the time. Like, if I don't try to write a pilot right now, like, I literally never will. Like, I have nothing but time. And I've been introduced to this man, Stan Zimmerman, who is a fantastic comedic writer. He wrote for Gilmore Girls, Golden Girls. That's kind of like his big one. I know he does like the Golden Girl cruise every year. He had started just like an online class, and he hadn't done it in years. And I was like, I signed up for it, and we got talking, and he learned about my blog, and he's like, well, you know, I have this play going up. Like, would you be interested in interviewing me?
It's
and
amazing.
it was over the phone because it was the pandemic. And so I had a recording and I just went, Stan, like, what if I turn this into the first episode of a podcast? And he was like, sure. Interview podcasts are hard. So like, I'm bowing down to you because I think
I'm just sitting here. You're doing most of the work. I'm just nodding going,
I think I literally lasted like 6 episodes. And then I was like,
hard.
this is a lot.
Yeah.
But anyway, so through Stan, I started writing, wrote my first pilot. It was about my experience living at a fraternity in USC, which is as gross as it sounds. It was actually the summer I was interning at Hero because for like $1,100 you could stay for the whole summer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I was like, sign me up. Disgusting. Like
maybe not. Yeah. Comes with some caveats.
Yeah. But super nice people, just like it's a frat house. So it's exactly what you expect. And then through there I just, I was like, I think I really like writing. And I had some success with playwriting. I had been on the board of a theater company at my school called Brand New Theater, and I had written my senior year. I finally was like, I've read so many, let me write one. Wrote like a 20-ish minute play. Got it into a festival in Manhattan right after school. So it was kind of like that helped me keep the momentum. I was like, I'm having like my low key New York debut like a month after graduating. And that also just, I think sometimes you just need wins like that to build your confidence.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is something I can do. And so I really started writing a lot more 10-minute plays, turned some of those into short films. Also got a lot of them produced during the pandemic because everyone was looking for like virtual 10-minute pieces. So I grew my produced list, which was really nice. Did 2 full-length plays as an actor during the pandemic on Zoom.
No way. Okay.
It's exhausting, but it was one of those things where I was like, okay, I guess I literally can make it work in any way. I realized I was telling this story to tell you more about Liesl, but basically I get a call from her halfway through the pandemic of being like, my assistant just quit. I trust you. I know you. Would you want to, I'm in New York. I ideally want a New York-based assistant, but everything's virtual anyway. Yeah. Would you want to take over my calendar for a little bit? She was like, it'd probably be for 3 months. It turned into a year, and I was with her for her entire Oscar campaign, which was fascinating, and with her for the entire development of a Disney Plus show that did end up, unfortunately, getting cut right before we went into production. But I learned so much. And for me, that experience really opened me up because I was now getting access to places that I never had access to as an actor and a writer. And they in school, they were always like, if you want to get repped, get to know the assistants and the coordinators. That's really hard information to find. Yeah. Suddenly, I'm texting assistants at WME every single day. I'm talking to the assistants at MGMT. I was like, oh, these are people and places that would not look at me twice if I was just like, hi, I'm a 24-year-old actor writer with nothing that you would consider a substantial credit. And so for me, that really became the moment where I was like, oh no, I think working in entertainment at, a desk, I guess desk job, it was remote and it was flexible, but I was like, I think I was fed a lie. I think I was fed a lie that this would be the death of my career, and it's really opening it up.
There's a lot of lies and a lot of or you have rules and then the rules don't make sense. Yeah. And I think this is why I was so excited to talk to you, because you have hearing this story that then loops in on itself, and kind of helps you grow as a creative and it gave you a career. All these different choices that are...
It all adds up.
Yeah, looking back in hindsight, it all adds up. And this is something I want to kind of explore more in episode 2. All that work that we do isn't a waste of time. And that's a concept we'll kind of... that we always talk about, but I want to talk to you more about that and see how all these little things you've done kind of tie together. But for now, I think we'll have to wrap it up here. Julia, thank you for coming on the pod. And we'll see you next week.
Me. Amazing. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right. Take care, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Anywood Podcast. You can find us anywhere you find your podcasts or on YouTube on the Cinematography for Actors YouTube channel. See you next week.
From the CFA Network, Cinematography for Actors is bridging the gap through education and community building. Find out about us and listen to our other podcast at cinematographyforactors.com.
Cinematography for Actors Institute is a 501c3 nonprofit. For more information on fiscal sponsorship, donations, because we're tax exempt now, so it's a tax write-off, and upcoming education, You can email us at contact@cinematographyforactors.com. Thanks.